Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm Siraj, part of the oh so very cool, please think we're cool, Merchants of Menace. If you guys are new to the channel, we're a group of students at the UW of Madison, apparently, dedicated to bringing Shakespeare to people in our time, right now, because, you know, even though he's dead and his plays were written a while ago, he's still relevant. So yeah, I just thought I'd talk to you guys about my favorite Shakespeare show. So, without further ado, run the title card.
Mambo number 5.
Alright guys, so if you couldn't tell from my intro, today we're going to be talking about Much Ado About Nothing, one of my personal favorite Shakespeare plays. It's one of my favorite plays for a few reasons. So reason number one why I love this play so much is because of its amazing story. I mean, well, okay, to be fair, Shakespeare's plays aren't really known for their riveting stories, and Much Ado About Nothing isn't necessarily an exception in that regard, but overall, I think its story is super comical and funny and just a great time both watching and, as you'll later find out, being a part of. And then the other reason I love this play so much is because I actually have some history being a part of this play. My high school, my senior year, put on a production of Much Ado About Nothing, and I had the insane honor of playing the role of Claudio, which I will soon tell you about and why that was such just a interesting role to play. Okay, so a little bit about the show's plot before we get started. Much Ado About Nothing is essentially a story of a group of soldiers coming back from a war. This group of soldiers is made up of a few guys. Well, actually a lot of guys, but, you know, for efficiency's sake, I'll only list a few. So there's Benedict, Claudio, which is the character I played, and Don Pedro, and then his brother Don John. So how the hierarchy of this whole thing works is that Benedict and Claudio are both soldiers and buddies, and both of them are friends with their general, who's Don Pedro. And Don Pedro's brother is Don John. And Don John doesn't really like Claudio, which is my character, because Claudio did something in war, he's a battle hero basically, and Don Pedro promoted him instead of promoting his brother, Don John. So anyway, these soldiers are on their way back from war, and they decide, you know, what the heck, we'll stop at their leader, Don Pedro's buddy's house, his childhood buddy, Leonardo. So they stop at Leonardo's house. And when they get there, Leonardo comes out with his whole big family, and he greets all the soldiers, because, you know, they're war heroes. And it's a whole big, great time. He says, you know, I'm going to throw you guys a big party. It'll be lit. But then anyways, Claudio, the second he gets there, falls, like, head over heels in love with Leonardo's daughter, Hero. So not only does that happen, but then, like, right at the beginning, right when they get there, Benedict gets in this huge, like, verbal, they call it a war of words, basically, like, they sling insults at each other, with Leonardo's niece, Beatrice. And it turns out, the audience finds out, like, at the beginning of the play, that Benedict and Beatrice used to be a thing. But then Benedict left her, like, right when he went off to war, just left her, so they have, like, some bad blood between them, basically. So Claudio ends up telling Benedict, you know, I've got this big crush on Hero, I've fallen in love with her, what do I do? And Benedict, being the manly man that he is, you know, just kind of chews him out. He says, weddings, getting married are for losers, and the second you see me getting married, you know, you can just make fun of me all the time, because that's never going to happen. Don Pedro overhears this, remember the general overhears this, and he comes to Claudio's defense, and he's like, hey, lay off, Benedict, I'm sure it'll happen one day for you. And anyways, Claudio is really shy and he doesn't want to go talk to Hero. So what happens is Don Pedro says, okay, Claudio, there's a masquerade ball tonight. I will pretend to be you and I will woo Hero in your name. And then later I'll be like, just kidding, I'm Don Pedro, but you should go meet Claudio, my bud, and I'll set you two up. So then, Don John, which is Don Pedro's brother, remember the guy who doesn't like Claudio, overhears all the guys talking, and he thinks to himself, you know, oh, I can really screw up Claudio's life, which, you know, is wont to happen in a Shakespeare play. Someone wants to screw up someone else's life. So he concocts this plan to make Claudio think that Don Pedro is actually wooing Hero for himself and not planning to give Hero back to Claudio. So Claudio gets really upset, whines a little bit, but in the end it kind of blows over, and Don Pedro's like, no dude, I did this for you, here's Hero, you're getting married. And Claudio and Hero are like, woo, that's the best. So everything works out, right? No, because that's like the end of Act 2. So then, Claudio, Hero, Leonardo, and Don Pedro all get together and they're like, while we're waiting for this wedding to happen, let's have some fun. So what they do is they each, Hero uses like her handmaidens, and Claudio uses the help of Leonardo and Don Pedro. And they each try to convince Benedict and Beatrice that the other one has secretly, but like super deeply and madly, fallen in love with them. Okay, so the guys convince Benedict that Beatrice is in love with him, and the ladies convince Beatrice that Benedict is in love with her. So then Benedict and Beatrice end up like falling in love with each other because they think the other person's fallen in love with each other, but they don't know that they were tricked. And so they kind of go on like that for a good while, and it's really funny to watch. This is the last thing, like plot-wise, I'll tell you guys, because I don't want to spoil the whole plot for you, but Don John's plotting isn't over, because he's like, I still want to mess with Claudio's life. So I think what I'll do is I'll get my buddy to go basically he tells his buddy to go have sex with a girl, and then he positions Claudio, he gets Claudio to look up at the window of the room that his friend is doing it in, and he's like, that guy is having sex with Hero up there. And Claudio for some reason believes it. I don't really know why, because Claudio's not really the smartest character in this show. But anyways, Claudio is so mad. And he decides, I'm gonna mess with Hero now. I'm gonna mess up her life because she's wronged me so. And more events go down, and it gets crazy. So you guys can already start to see that this isn't a lot of people think that Shakespeare is really boring, but then when you get down to it, there's all this crazy stuff that happens, and all these plot lines meshing and curling up and intersecting is the word I'm thinking of. And yeah, it just gets super outrageous and super cool. So yeah, that's the plot, or at least what I'll tell you guys about the plot. Okay, so now's probably the part in the video where you guys are like, okay, Siraj, cool, this plot sounds maybe interesting. Why is Much Ado About Nothing your favorite Shakespeare show? So I guess it kind of goes back to that whole thing where I played Claudio, so I have a definite investment in this show, and I got to see it unfold and from an actor's point of view, and it was so cool how we did it. I might put up a picture up at the end of me as Claudio. I look pretty dashing if I do say so myself. But yeah, I had so much fun with this show, and I guess being in a show, you get to understand it better. So Much Ado About Nothing might be the one Shakespeare show that I understand the most, obviously, because I'm doing a video on it. But also I love the comedy of, wow, there's comedy in a comedy, crazy, right? But I think it's really funny, and it's just crazy what happens. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Hey guys, so really quick, this is that picture that I was talking about where I play Claudio. The girl right next to me is actually the girl who played Hero with me. So yeah, you guys can see I was quite dashing in high school, I know. So, please hold your applause. Yeah, so just one other really quick thing. One cool thing we did with our production back in high school was that we actually did it outside at this park. So it was this whole really artsy, cool Shakespeare in the Park type thing. And our director really made use of the whole area, not just on stage, but around the whole audience where they were sitting. So we would have characters I would chase Hero all the way around the audience and stuff. And it was really cool, and a really novel idea of using or I guess not novel because it's been done before, but a cool way of applying outside thinking to Shakespeare. So yeah, guys, that's about it. That's all I've got to say on Much Ado About Nothing, which is actually quite a lot because my video is going on 10 minutes. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and smash that subscribe button, because it'll really help out. And keep on the lookout for new videos because we'll keep making them. So yeah. See you on the flip side.